Hare Krishna, everyone. Good afternoon. If you're able to turn on your video cameras, it would be great to see everybody. Okay, and while you're turning on your video cameras, I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. I kind of see Atishya. Thank you. I see Ashi's here, Ruhanika Aradhya. I think Ansha's here too. Ashi, yes. Samanyu. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, Dhruv and Dwani, I see you now here too. Swara. Okay, I see quite many of you. Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about Bhishma Dev, which is a very, very powerful personality in the Mahabharata, okay? We're also going to speak about some prayers that he spoke to Lord Krishna. And we're going to talk about 5 very auspicious, very important days, which are very beneficial for our spiritual life, okay, and for doing good things. And they're called the Bhishma Panchaka. So we're going to speak about these 3 different things, okay? So today's class is going to be a little different. First of all, before we fully start, let's say our opening prayers together. Okay. If you can all unmute for this, that would be amazing. Can everyone unmute? Let's say it together. Let's hear everybody. Okay, thank you. All right. Ready?
ॐ अज्ञाननिधिरामदस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Wonderful. Thank you everyone for unmuting. Okay, so we're going to speak about Bhishma Dev a little bit. We're going to talk about his story quickly, and then we're going to talk about these 5 special days called Bhishma Panchaka. And then we're going to speak about Bhishma Dev's prayers to Lord Krishna. They're very beautiful prayers, okay? So Bhishma Dev is a very powerful personality in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata is basically the whole backstory of the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita is included in the Mahabharata, and the Mahabharata goes all the way back to the forefathers of Arjuna. And it talks about all the different stories and everything that happened that led up to the Pandavas and the Kauravas and the whole Kurukshetra war, okay? And a little bit after that as well. So Bhishma Dev was a very powerful personality in the Mahabharata. He is the son of a king named Shantanu and of Ganga Devi. Shantanu is one of the kings in the lineage of the kings in the Mahabharata. So he's one of the kings in the lineage of the Pandavas, actually. So Shantanu was Bhishma Dev's father, and Ganga Devi was his mother. Now there's a backstory to so many stories in the Mahabharata, but to say things simply, Ganga Devi, once Bhishma Dev was born, she didn't stay in Hastinapur. She went back to the heavenly planets and she took Bhishma Dev with her as a baby. At that time, his name was Devavrata. So when he was born, his name was Devavrata. Okay, and this is Shantanu and Ganga Devi. And Ganga Devi left soon after Bhishma Dev was born. There's a whole story to that. Some of you may know, some of you may not, but I won't say it today. But so for a long time, Bhishma Dev or Devavrata at that time was not in Hastinapur with his father Shantanu. So his father Shantanu was alone, and Ganga Devi took Devavrata up to the heavenly planets because that's where she was from, so that he could learn martial arts and all kinds of um, 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 different wisdom from different powerful personalities in the heavenly planets, so that he could come back down one day to the earthly planets and rule the kingdom Hastinapur after his father. So after about 16 years, finally Ganga Devi brought 16-year-old Devavrata back to his father Shantanu in Hastinapur. And Shantanu was overjoyed to see his son after so long. He had become a very skilled warrior at that point, and he was ready to rule the kingdom almost. He was very, very knowledgeable. He was very skilled in his abilities to fight and to rule a kingdom as well. So he was trained well in the heavenly planets. Now, Ganga Devi, after bringing Devavrata back to his father, she left. She didn't stay on Earth. She went back to the heavenly planets because that's where she belongs. And so Bhishma De or Devavrata at the time, he continued to stay with his father, Shantanu. Now, over time, Shantanu decided that he wanted to marry another lady named Satyavati. He had met her and he wanted to marry her. He needed a queen. But her father did not allow, he didn't want Shantanu to marry his daughter, Satyavati, because King Shantanu already had a son named Devavrata, right? Who was going to rule the kingdom one day. So Satyavati's father said that there would be no chance for his grandchildren to rule the kingdom. So he didn't want his daughter to marry Shantanu. Shantanu was very sad, but nevertheless, he went back to his kingdom, Hastinapur. And Devavrata, who was a very good son, he could tell that Shantanu, his father, was sad. He was not very happy. And he began to try and figure out what was wrong. Finally, he understood that this whole episode happened where Shantanu wanted to marry Satyavati, but her father didn't agree because because of him, because he was going to be the next king. So immediately he went to Satyavati's father and he made a very strong vow in front of his father, in front of Satyavati's father. He said, I will never take the kingdom, I will never be king, and I will never, so first he said, I will never take the kingdom, so I'll never be king. So you can be assured that your grandchildren will become the next kings. I won't be in their way. And then Satyavati's father, she said, well, that's okay. Or he said, that's okay, that's great. But what about your children? What if your children want to become the kings? So then he said, okay, I vow that I'll never get married, so I'll never have a family. So at that point, all the demigods and the heavenly planets, they were watching this. And this is they called it a very terrible vow because um, it's a very hard vow to keep, especially for a king or for a prince who was going to be king. He could have had the whole kingdom, right? He could have had a family and he could have ruled Hastinapur, which was a big kingdom, for a long time. But um, he decided to not have all that so that his father could marry Satyavati and be happy. So all the demigods, they called him Bhishma after that. Bhishma means terrible because of his terrible vow. It's a very, very difficult vow, right? So he made this vow, and then his father came and got married to Satyavati. And then Satyavati and his father Shantanu, they had their children were Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Um, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Oh, hold on.
Doesn't it go like they had two sons, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, and then Vichit
Right.
yeah.
Yes. So the grandchildren. Thank you, Drew. As I said that, I thought that I was making a mistake. Yeah. So they had two sons, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. And then from Vichitravirya, I think it was, um, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura, basically they came down in that line after them. So Shantanu was two kings before Dhritarashtra in that same lineage. And there's a whole story about how Pandu and Dhritarashtra are born, but we won't go into that today because this is about Bhishma Dev. But anyway, Bhishma Dev gets his name Bhishma from this terrible vow that he takes, and he follows it for the rest of his life. He never takes the kingdom, right? He never becomes king, and he never has a family of his own. He stays in Hastinapur and serves the throne by helping whoever becomes king next. So he helped his brothers, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, rule the kingdom. And then after that, he helped their sons, Dhritarashtra and Pandu, to rule the kingdom too. But he never took the king throne on his own. And he served the kingdom in that way. And he became because of this terrible vow that he made, his father was very happy with him. And he said, "Wow, you so selflessly renounced, to enjoy the kingdom as the king and so many other things just for my sake. So I give you a boon that you can choose when you will die. You will not, basically, death cannot take you whenever is your time. You will be able to choose when you leave this world." So, um, you can see here, he looks old, right? But he's still fighting. Bhishma Dev lived a long time. He lived across several generations in order to serve the kingdom. And and even up until the Pandavas and the Kauravas, right? There were several generations after him. But he was like the grandfather, the great grandfather of the kingdom. So everyone still grew up with him. So he lived a very long time because of that boon. And now moving forward, um, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, eventually Arjuna um, he defeats Bhishma, and Bhishma is a great devotee of Lord Krishna, actually. But for some, unfortunately, he had to fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Um, who remembers what were the two armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? Okay, Dhruv, I know you have your hand up. Let me see if anyone else wants to answer first. No? Okay, Dhruv, go ahead, tell us. Who are the two armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra?
So it was the Pandavas and the Kauravas.
Exactly. The Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Pandavas, they were righteous, they were good people, and the Kauravas, they were not very good people. Um, they were not righteous. They performed a lot of sinful activities. So, unfortunately, Bhishma Dev had to side on the side of the Kauravas. Even though he was a devotee of Lord Krishna and he was a good person, he had to side on the Kauravas side for different reasons we won't go into today. Um, but he was still a devotee of Lord Krishna, and Arjuna was on the Pandava side, right? He was opposing Bhishma Dev. And so finally, one of the days during the battle, Arjuna actually defeats Bhishma Dev. And that was part of Krishna's plan. And the way he defeated him was he shot so many arrows into his body that Bhishma Dev just fell down. And then essentially the arrows became a bed for him. So and I'll show you a picture later. He was laying on this bed of arrows for a long time. But remember, he had a boon that he could die whenever he wanted to. So even though he was defeated like that with so many arrows in his body, any other person would have died because of that. He lived for a long time after that, and he was laying on that bed of arrows, and he was waiting. And he was waiting because he actually wanted to leave his body in the presence of Lord Krishna. He was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. He loved Lord Krishna. And he wanted to leave his body in the presence. He wanted Krishna to be there. So he waited through the whole war. He waited through the coronation of Yudhishthir, when Yudhishthir became king, and many more days. And so what happened was sometime after Yudhishthir, let me actually go back because we'll talk about Bhishma Panchak in a second. So, oops, there we go. So sometime after Yudhishthir, right after the whole battle, Yudhishthir becomes king. He gets coronated as king. And then Krishna finally everything's peaceful there in Hastinapur, and he realizes it's time to go back to his kingdom, Dwaraka. And then when he was getting ready to go to Dwaraka, um, basically someone decides to attack um, one of the children, the grandchildren of the Pandavas, and uh, and then because of Queen Kunti's prayers, which is Kunti. Who can remember who Queen Kunti is?
Wasn't she the mother of the Pandavas?
Yeah, she was the mother of the Pandavas, exactly. So she prays to Krishna. She has these beautiful prayers to Krishna. And in the prayers, basically, she is requesting him that he stays a little bit longer with them. So he agrees and he goes back and he stays for a little bit longer in Hastinapur. This was after the war. Yudhishthir's king, you know. And then once he's back, he's settled, he's staying for a few more days. He begins to um, reveal his heart to Krishna, and he said he feels so bad for the amount of people who had to die in this huge war, in the war of Kurukshetra. He feels very sorry, and he feels like it was his fault. And then even though so many people were trying to convince him that no, it was what was meant to happen, those the Kauravas were not they were not fit to rule, and unfortunately that's what happened. Even though many people were trying to console Yudhishthir, he still felt very sad. So then Krishna, he decided, okay, let's take all the Pandavas, let's go to grandfather Bhishma, who at that time he was laying on the battle of the he was laying on the battlefield of Kurukshetra on this bed of arrows here that I was talking about. Um, and Krishna decides to take all the Pandavas, and of course many other people from the kingdom followed them, and they went to visit Bhishma Dev. And Krishna knew that Bhishma Dev would be able to console or give make Yudhishthir feel better about what he was feeling about the war. So Krishna took all of them to see Bhishma Dev, and Bhishma Dev at that point he's so happy. He's so happy to see everybody. He's so happy to see that the Pandavas are now they're well dressed. They have they're ruling the kingdom. They're doing well. He's very happy, and he begins to give some instructions to Yudhishthir about how to rule a kingdom, about his different duties. And once he finishes that, he begins to offer his prayers to Krishna. And they're very beautiful prayers. We're going to go back to them. Before we start that, though, um, Bhishma Panchaka, which also has the same name, Bhishma, these are 5 very special days in the month of Kartik. Kartik is a month, that's a really special month, where devotees of Krishna offer a lamp to Krishna every single day, and they sing these prayers called the Damodar Ashtakam prayers. And it's a very special month. Krishna is very happy with even the smallest little activities we do for him. And the Bhishma Panchaka are the last 5 days in this whole month. So we're actually going through those last 5 days right now. Today's the second day. Yesterday was the first day. And in these 5 days, uh, anything that you were not able to do in the whole special month of Kartik, you can do in these 5 days. And Krishna is so happy with that. So some things that are really nice to do on these 5 days of Bhishma Panchaka. Oh, and by the way, it's called Bhishma Panchaka because Bhishma Dev actually he went through this. He made some. He followed these 5 days, and he followed the vows on these 5 days. So he did different services, different spiritual um, activities for the pleasure of Krishna on these 5 days. He followed this himself, and because of this, um, he was able to see Krishna and be in front of Krishna when he left his body later on in his life. Um, so some of the activities that we can do in these 5 days are we can chant the holy names of Krishna with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? We can offer a lamp to Krishna. We can we can also do good things for others. Um, and we can also read Bhagavad Gita. So remember, we've been learning all the different verses of Bhagavad Gita so far. Yeah. So one of the things we can do this in these next 5 days is we can even just go back to one of those verses that we learned, and we can say them, say the verse, say the translation. That's also a very, very special thing to do in these next 5 days. Krishna is very happy. And like I said, Bhishma Dev also did very different activities to please Krishna during these 5 days, and he was able to see Krishna right when he was passing away in this lifetime, and he was able to remember Krishna. Um, so let's go to Bhishma Dev's prayers. So these are the prayers that Bhishma Dev he speaks to Lord Krishna right after he instructs Yudhishthir about how to rule a kingdom and the different duties that that Yudhishthir as the king should follow. And also after he spoke to Yudhishthir about these the duties and gave his instructions, Yudhishthir was feeling more he felt better. He before earlier he felt really bad about the war and he felt very sorry for what happened. But after speaking with Bhishma Dev and hearing him, he felt a little better and he felt ready to continue ruling Hastinapur and being the king. And then at that point, Bhishma Dev he felt okay. Hastinapur is in good hands now. It's in Yudhishthir's going to take very good care of Hastinapur. Krishna is now in front of me. This is the perfect time for me to leave this body. So he turns to Krishna and he starts to offer his prayers. So as he's laying there on the battlefield, on this bed of arrows, um, he starts to say, "Let me turn my attention now to Krishna. For so many years, my attention was on different things, taking care of the kingdom, different duties. But now let me just turn my attention to Krishna and let me think of him." Um, he's sometimes he's always, he's always happy, he's always satisfied, and sometimes he comes to this world, to the material world, um, to have different pastimes with his devotees, right, in his different incarnations. So Bhishma Dev starts to meditate on Krishna. And he says Krishna is, um, he's the very dear friend of Arjuna. And on the battlefield, um, he spoke the Gita to Arjuna, right? Just to console him as a very good friend. So he's a good friend of Arjuna. And he also goes into how Krishna looks. He has the bluish color of the tamal tree. Has anyone seen a tamal tree? Does anyone know what a tamal tree is? No? It's a specific type of tree. I don't know if we have them here. I think in India you'll see some of them. Um,
How
but
do you
Krishna
spell it? How do you
Tamal, Tamala.
Oh,
Yeah. So many times Krishna's bodily complexion, his skin color is described as the tamal tree color, kind of a darkish color. And Bhishma Dev says that Krishna has the color of a tamal tree. He's wearing these beautiful yellow clothes, yellow garments, and his dress is glittering. His face is so beautiful. It reminds you of a lotus flower. And he has little paintings of sandalwood pulp. So sometimes we'll see If you've seen pictures of Krishna, you'll notice sometimes he has little designs on his face. So that's made with sandalwood pulp. So in this way, Bhishma Dev is describing Krishna's beautiful bodily um, how he looks, and he's saying, let my mind be fixed on Krishna, on the way he looks, on the way he behaves, on his pastimes. Um, he moves on to say how Krishna on the battlefield, he he was the charioteer for Arjuna. And even during the battle, when there was dust and Krishna was sweating and um, there was so much, so much dirt everywhere, Krishna looked so beautiful. So he was saying Krishna looks beautiful no matter what, whether he's in Vrindavan with his friends or whether he's on the battlefield. Being Arjuna's charioteer, he looked so beautiful with all the dust and he was sweating a little bit because he was riding the chariot while Arjuna fought. And um, and also on the battlefield, Krishna began to explain to Arjuna the Bhagavad Gita, right? When Arjuna was feeling upset about the war, right? Why was Arjuna upset about the war? Does anyone remember? Why did Arjuna have a difficult time on the battlefield? What happened?
Because he
And
didn't
and
want to
raise your
fight his elders.
yeah, he didn't want to fight his elders. Does anyone else have any reasons why Arjuna felt sad in the battlefield? Nandika?
I'm Nandini. She's
Nandini.
Nandita.
I'm
By the way,
sorry.
no, he didn't want to kill his relatives.
He didn't want to kill his relatives. Yeah, he didn't want to fight his elders. He didn't want to kill his relatives. Yeah, those are some good answers. So, at that time, what did Krishna do? Who can tell me? What did Krishna do?
Recited the whole Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna
Yeah, why did he recite the Bhagavad Gita?
to console him and to make him remind him of his duty as a Kshatriya.
Yeah, exactly. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Why did Krishna, Nandini? Can't hear you, Nandini.
What's a Kshatriya?
Kshatriya is a warrior. Anyone else have any reasons why Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, it's to help Arjuna to understand his duty and to console him on the battlefield. So Krishna, or Bhishma Dev, in his prayers, he's explaining how what a wonderful friend Krishna was to Arjuna. He took that time um, to help Arjuna understand his duty on the war and to help him feel better, so that by the end of the Gita, Arjuna was ready. He understood his duty, and he was no longer sad. He was ready to do what was needed. So, but Krishna took that time to sit and to help him uh, feel better, to help him go through um, his sadness and to understand what was his duty. Um, and like that, Bhishma Dev continues to remember different pastimes of Krishna and different events um, that he remembered Krishna in. Um, and as he remembers those different pastimes and as he remembers how Krishna looks, he just keeps saying, "May my mind be fixed on Krishna. May I always be thinking of Krishna." And these are his prayers to Krishna as Krishna is standing there. Another pastime that Bhishma Dev mentions in his story or in his prayers was about Krishna, how Krishna almost attacks Bhishma Dev on the battlefield. Now there's a backstory to this. When Krishna, when the battlefield was going, when Battle of Kurukshetra was going to take place, Arjuna and Duryodhan both came to Krishna because Krishna had a big army that he was going to give to either one of the armies, either one of the sides, either the Pandava side or the Kaurava side. He had a big, big army. And so Duryodhan and Krishna both came to Krishna one day, and Duryodhan asked for Krishna's army, but Arjuna just asked for Krishna. He didn't care about Krishna's army, he just wanted Krishna to be on their side. So Krishna gave his army. It was a huge army. Actually, the Kaurava's army was bigger than the Pandava's army. Um, and so Krishna gave his army to the Kauravas. And then Arjuna, he said, we just want you, Krishna. We don't care about your army. We just want you to be with us. So Krishna himself went on the Pandavas' side. And at that time, Krishna said, um, my army, they'll fight, but I'm not going to fight. I'll be a charioteer. I'll be there, but I'm not going to fight. Um, and so Arjuna, he said, that's okay. We don't need you to fight. We just want you to be there with us because they loved Krishna so much. It didn't matter to them whether he was fighting or not. They just wanted him to be with them. Um, and at that time, Krishna, he said that I'm not going to fight, right? So Bhishma Dev, um, he had this desire. He wanted to see Krishna fight. So he somehow or other, during the battle, he behaved in such a way that Krishna, um, he basically, Bhishma, he tried to attack Arjuna. And Krishna, he got so upset that he forgot about his vow and he wanted to protect Arjuna. So and then Arjuna had to stop Krishna and say, "Hey, no, no, you said you weren't going to fight. Don't do this." And finally, Krishna put down the chariot wheel, and um, and that way, Krishna, or Bhishma Dev was able to see Krishna um, almost fight. So Bhishma Dev, as he's praying to Krishna, he goes back to this what happened here, and he was saying how Krishna sacrificed his own promise just to protect his friend Arjuna. And at the same time, he also fulfilled Bhishma's desire to see Krishna fight, right? Um, so he was remembering this event and he was in that way he was absorbing his mind in Krishna. And he continues to describe how Krishna was with Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he was the chariot driver. He had the whip in his right hand for the horses, right, to control them, and he had a bridle rope in his left hand. And he was very careful to protect Arjuna, right? Because the charioteer also has a big responsibility. They have to navigate the chariot in such a way that the person on the chariot is safe, right? And that they can fight and they can also be safely um, maneuvered around the battlefield. So he was remembering how Krishna was so expertly um, driving the chariot of Arjuna to protect Arjuna. He took that duty of his very seriously to protect his friend Arjuna. And he continued to remember Krishna in that way, how what he was holding in his different hands and how skillfully he was moving the chariot around with the horses so Arjuna would be safe. And finally, Bhishma Dev goes on to say how he wants his mind to be fixed on Krishna, who attracts all the residents of Vrindavan, right? Um, and also, he goes back to thinking of um, when Yudhishthir had a very big yajna at one point. Krishna was the one who was worshipped as the most worshipable person. They have to choose someone who they'll worship. And so Krishna was chosen as the one who everyone would worship during this, it was called the Rajasuya sacrifice. So Bhishma Dev was there and he was remembering how everyone was worshiping Krishna and how beautiful it was. And like that, Bhishma Dev goes through, it's about several different verses that Bhishma Dev offers to Lord Krishna while he's on his bed of arrows. And the whole time he's praying, I just want to remember you, Krishna. I want to remember your pastimes. I want to remember your form and your beautiful qualities. I want to remember what great friend you were to Arjuna, and how so many times you gave your mercy to us, and I just want to have my mind totally fixed on you as I leave this world. And so with all those prayers, he um after he finished those prayers, then he left, he passed away on that battlefield. Does anyone see Krishna in this picture?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, some of you?
I see him on the other side.
On the side? I see some of you are raising your hands. Is this Krishna? No. Is this Krishna? No.
No.
Which one's Krishna?
The one in blue dress.
No, he's in a yellow dress, but in the middle.
Which one of you remembers what Krishna's complexion is, his skin color?
Blue. Dark
Dark
green.
green.
Dark
Color like the
blue.
Kamal tree, right?
Dark blue.
Yeah. Nandini, I see your hand raised. I can't hear you, Nandini.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah, Krishna is the one right here. You see, he looks darkish and he's wearing yellow. He also has the peacock feather. Um that's another thing that he always wears. It's like a signature um uh it's something he wears all the time. It's peacock feather. And he's often wearing yellow. His skin complexion is that darkish color. And like that, Bhishma Dev, after he um instructs Yudhishthir, makes him feel better and ready to rule the kingdom. Then he offers his prayers to Krishna, and then he finally leaves this world. And uh, and that's how he chose. That's how he decided he wanted to leave. And like I mentioned, he followed this vow of Bhishma Panchaka. Oops, let me go back. Over here, these last 5 days of Kartik, the month of Kartik, they're very important days where anything we do for Krishna, any little activity we do for Krishna is multiplied. Like they say, the month of Kartik is like if you go to say Walmart or something and there's a sale, there's many items that are on sale. So in the month of Kartik, whatever activities you do for Krishna, um, he's just so happy. He gives you so much mercy. And so the last 5 days, which are Bhishma Panchaka, they're called like the clearance days. Like when there's a sale in the store, and then towards the end of the sale, there's a clearance where things are even cheaper. So these last 5 days of called Bhishma Panchaka, they're the days where Krishna is so merciful. Any tiny little thing that you do, he's just so happy. And you get so much spiritual benefit for that. So some of the things that you can do on your own at your home, you can, with the help of your parents, if they allow you, you can offer a lamp to Krishna. Um, you can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is Krishna's names. He loves when you chant his names because as soon as you chant his name and him, they're non-different. So as soon as you chant his name, he's right there. He'll hear everything that you're feeling, that you're thinking. And if you just chant those names, he'll be right there with you. And he loves it. Just like when we hear our name, when we hear someone we love call our name, we're happy, right? We feel, oh, they're calling me. They want me. So in the same way, Krishna feels like that when we say the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when we say his names, right? So you can also, on these we have 4 days left, including today. Maybe before you go to bed, you can say the Hare Krishna Mahamantra a few times. Um, um, and even doing something nice for others, if you can, is also one thing that you can do in these next 5 days. And like I said, also reading the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, right? You can go back to one of the verses that we've learned so far and just recite one of them. Maybe pick one every day and you can recite the verse and the translation. Um, and that's it. Krishna will be so happy with you. So before we finish, why don't we can share with each other what we might want to do for these next 4 days. We can pick one, something that we want to do for Krishna. I see Nandini, you have your hand raised.
I just have a question. Are we going
Okay.
to do a food today or no?
No, I don't have a Kahoot for you today. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Next time, I will keep that in mind. We'll do a Kahoot, okay? Next time you can expect a Kahoot from me at least. Swara, I see your hand raised.
Paint,
Can you say that again?
paint,
I
like
couldn't catch
making paintings.
paintings. Okay. You want to make a painting of Krishna?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a beautiful way. You can meditate on his form. That's a wonderful idea. Who else wants to share something they might do in the next 4 days for Krishna? Okay, Dwani, go ahead.
You can say the Damodarashtakam.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. And if you're allowed to, you can offer a lamp as well. If not, you can even say the prayers, the Damodarashtakam prayers. Yeah, that's a great idea. Anybody else? Everyone, please think of one thing that you'll do in the next 4 days. Let's see. Nandini.
Go to temple.
Beautiful. Yeah. And yeah, that's a great idea. When you go to the temple, you can say the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? You can see the form of Krishna. That's a beautiful, great idea. Let's see, who else? I'll start calling names, okay? Let's see. Ruhanika and Aradhya, have you thought of something you want to do in the next 4 days? Something you want to do for
The
Krishna?
Hare Krishna mantra.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. What about Ashi?
I said that I would offer food and more prayers and go to the temple.
That's beautiful, Ashi. I love that. Ansh, you raised your hand? Ansh? Ansh, did you raise your hand? I can't hear you. Oh no, Ansh, I can't hear you.
He put it in the chat.
Oh, he put it in the chat?
He put it in the chat.
Okay.
The chant.
The chant. Okay, beautiful, Ansh. That's a great idea. Let's see. Satya, have you thought of something you want to do for Krishna in the next 4 days? Satya?
I like chant Hare Krishna.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, you can even just do it right before you go to bed or right when you wake up. Or say if you go to the temple when you see the deities, or anytime, really, anytime. Even before you eat, if you remember. Really, whenever you remember. Okay. Ashi, you shared, Satya shared, Rohanika, Radhya. Nandika, did you share? We didn't hear you, Nandika.
I'm putting it in the chat.
You're putting in the chat, okay. I'll check the chat in just a second, okay? Atishya.
He's still writing it.
Okay. I'll come back to you. Atishya, how about you?
What was the question again?
Is there something that you want to do over the next 4 days, something special for Krishna that you want to share with us?
Maybe I'll offer him something.
Okay, that's a very good idea. Thank you for sharing that. Let me see the chat now and see if anyone has shared on the chat. Oh, I think to see the chat, I'm gonna have to stop my screen share. So I'll check the chat in just a second. Now, before I stop screen share, we're gonna go to the end. Let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra together and let's make Krishna happy. Okay? If we can all unmute. Ready? Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare. All right.
Thank you.
Let me check the chat. I think some of you might have written some things here I couldn't see before. Okay. Let's see. Can offer an oil lamp, Nandika Nandini. Yeah, that's a great idea.
So
Offering
put
food
you
and
can,
prayers.
I also put you could read about him.
Read about him. Yeah, oh, wow, that's a great idea. Yeah, you can read stories about Krishna as well. Yeah, that's great. Chant, Ansh said chant. Excellent. I'll chant Hare Krishna, Satya said. Very good. Paint, Swara said. Offering food and prayers. Excellent. These are all really, really simple things that Krishna will be so happy with, especially in these next 4 days. Okay.
You can
Wonderful.
also offer water.
Wow, yeah, offer water. That's a great idea too. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you all said, definitely try and do that within the next 4 days. Um, you'll see you'll make Krishna very happy. And you'll be happy too. Okay. Thank you all so much. I think we'll end here unless anyone has anything else that they want to say. Oh, I'll share what I'll do. I'll offer a lamp to Krishna and I'll also read about him. I really like that idea. I'll read about him. So that's what I'm gonna do. You all inspired me today. Does anyone have anything else that they want to share? No? Okay, well, we're gonna end here. You all have a really great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare